close your eyes and imagine a warm summer night in Virginia, 1743. Fireflies dance over endless tobacco fields. In a small brick house on a hill called Shadwell, a baby's first cry echoes through the humid air. His name will one day be written on the Declaration of Independence. This is the strange, brilliant, and deeply contradictory life of Thomas Jefferson. He was born into wealth, but not into laziness. His father, Peter Jefferson, was a planter and surveyor who mapped half of Virginia with nothing but a compass and endless determination. When Thomas was only 14, his father died. Suddenly, the boy became the man of the house, responsible for 5,000 acres, dozens of enslaved people, and a mother who would never fully recover from grief. Young Jefferson buried himself in books, 5 years non-stop. Greek, Latin, French, Spanish, Italian. He taught himself all of them. At night, he played violin alone in his room until his fingers bled. He once wrote in a letter, "I cannot live without books." At 26, he started building his dream house on a mountain, Monticello. He designed every brick, every dome, every hidden staircase himself. But here's the dark secret most history books whisper past. While Jefferson sketched beautiful European-style gardens, more than 600 human beings lived in slavery on his land over his lifetime. More than 100 of them were his own children, with a woman he owned, Sally Hemings. We'll come back to that. Philadelphia. The air is hot and thick with fear. 56 men are about to sign a document that will make them traitors to the most powerful empire on earth. A 33-year-old red-haired Virginian is chosen to write the first draft. In 17 days, locked in a small rented room, Thomas Jefferson writes words that still burn 250 years later. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. He wrote, "All men are created equal," while owning human beings. That single sentence would haunt America forever. After the Revolution, Jefferson became ambassador to France. He walked the streets of Paris, drunk on wine and revolution. He watched the French people storm the Bastille and quietly cheered. But in private letters home, he warned, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." He returned home to become America's first Secretary of State. He hated cities, hated factories, hated banks. He dreamed of an America of independent farmers, free, educated, and white. Across the table sat Alexander Hamilton, his opposite in every way. Hamilton wanted cities, banks, industry. Jefferson wanted endless fields of wheat and tobacco. Their fights were so bitter that George Washington once shouted at them both like children. One of the dirtiest elections in American history. Jefferson called his opponent, John Adams, a hermaphrodite with neither the force of a man nor the gentleness of a woman. Adams called Jefferson an atheist who would destroy religion. Jefferson won by one state. On March 4, 1801, he walked, not rode, to the Capitol to show he was a man of the people. And then he doubled the size of the United States overnight. The Louisiana Purchase. For $15 million, about $300 million today, he bought an area larger than most European countries from Napoleon. He sent Lewis and Clark into the unknown with one simple instruction: find a river that goes all the way to the Pacific. But darkness followed him even here. In 1793, a 19-year-old enslaved girl named Sally Hemings, his dead wife's half-sister, arrived in Paris to work for him. She was 14 when their relationship began. DNA would later prove 6 of her children were fathered by Thomas Jefferson. He never freed her. He never freed their children during his lifetime, except one who had to run away. Monticello was beautiful on the outside, but inside, hidden passageways carried food and wine on dumbwaiters, so guests would never have to see the enslaved people who cooked and served them. Jefferson died with debts of over $100,000, more than $2 million today. After his death, almost everything was sold, including 130 of the people who had served him all their lives. On July 4, 1826, exactly 50 years after the Declaration was signed, Thomas Jefferson died at Monticello. A few hours later, John Adams died 600 miles away in Massachusetts. Adams' last words, "Thomas Jefferson still survives. He was wrong by 5 hours." On his tombstone, Jefferson asked for 3 things to be written, and only 3. Here was buried Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of American Independence, author of the Statute of Virginia for religious freedom, and father of the University of Virginia. He did not mention that he was president for 8 years. He did not mention the Louisiana Purchase. He did not mention that he owned hundreds of human beings, or that some of them shared his blood. So who was Thomas Jefferson? A genius who wrote the most beautiful words about freedom, while living on the labor of enslaved people. A dreamer who designed one of America's most perfect buildings, with invisible corridors so he wouldn't have to look at the people who made it possible. A philosopher who believed in reason, and a man who could never free the woman who bore his children. He was America itself, brilliant, hypocritical, hopeful, and broken, all at the same time. The next time you drive past a rolling Virginia hill at sunset, or read the words, "All men are created equal," remember the red-haired boy who played violin until his fingers bled? Remember the hidden staircases of Monticello, and remember Sally Hemings, waiting in silence for a freedom that never came. Because that is the real story of Thomas Jefferson. Not just the statues, not just the words, but the shadows behind them. Thank you for listening. If this story moved you, the next one will be about Theodore Roosevelt, the wild president who once got shot and finished his speech anyway. Hit subscribe, close your eyes, and I'll see you in the next story.